I'm Reena. Ninan, thank you very much for joining us. I'm coming to you from my home studio here. I want to thank you again for joining us. The United States has now actually crossed into yet another grim milestone just a day after passing the mark of 1 million coronavirus cases nationwide. In less than 3 months, COVID-19 has killed more than 58,000 people. That's more than the number of Americans who died over nearly 2 decades of fighting in the Vietnam War. At least 9 states have already begun reopening non-essential businesses to the public. Another 10 have stay-at-home orders expiring tomorrow. Manuel Bojorquez reports from one of them, Florida, which is planning to reopen after seeing its highest single death toll yesterday.
Until I feel, by following the science, that we are ready to open, we will not open.
Mitch Kaplan's books may be collecting dust, but the owner of 7 community bookstores in Florida says he's not quite ready to let customers back in.
The stakes are high, and if you are going to reopen, you better pay attention and know what the consequences are.
Which could be what, in your view?
An employee gets sick, could be that a customer gets sick, it could be that you have to turn around and close down once again.
Florida is among the latest states to announce it's lifting parts of its lockdown.
Effective May 1st, restaurants, fitness centers, retail stores, and enclosed malls may reopen at 50% of normal operating capacity.
Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds announced businesses in 77 of Iowa's 99 counties could operate with limits, despite the statewide number of confirmed cases increasing by around 75% in a week. In New York Tuesday, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the creation of an advisory board to help guide the state's reopening strategy. The move comes as some communities continue to push back against stay-at-home orders. A funeral for a Hasidic rabbi in Brooklyn prompted a forceful response from police. It's one of several times over the past month community members have gathered, despite being particularly hard hit by the outbreak.
I think we might want to consider getting that school year moved up a little bit.
In California, Governor Gavin Newsom suggested schools there could reopen as early as July, even though cases and deaths have continued to rise across the state. Some educators have expressed concerns on how classrooms would operate with social distancing limitations. But there are parents like Amber Williams who say they're supportive of reopening schools this summer.
That was my hope, is that they would start the next school year earlier. But what that looks like, I don't know.
And I want to bring in the mayor of Tampa, Florida, Jane Castor. As we just said, the stay-at-home orders in her state are set to expire tomorrow. Mayor Castor, thank you so much for joining us. You know, at the White House yesterday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that his reopening plan is going to come today. Here's how he justified letting the stay-at-home orders lapse.
But I think that for Florida, going from where we are now to phase 1 is not a very big leap. I think that we'll be able to be a small step for us, but we're going to approach it in a very measured, thoughtful, and data-driven way. The overall numbers of people who are seeking testing is not currently beyond our capacity. So we're going to have a lot more capacity going forward, but we still, right now, are able to meet the current demand.
So you actually have more testing than you have demand?
Right now, yep.
It's a fantastic thing.
Mayor, do you feel that your state and your city is ready for these restrictions to be lifted?
Well, I do in a very thoughtful way, and it's very encouraging to hear the governor say that he's going to pay attention to the data and that he is going to do it in a measured and thoughtful way. What we have discussed is increasing the number of tests, which we're currently doing, and also the contact tracing and then the syndromic surveillance, so that we'll be able to determine where the hot spots are in our community, and we'll be able to put the resources and the services in there. But I'm very optimistic that we will be able to open slowly in our community.
What are the preparations, Mayor, that you are taking in addition to what the governor has sort of requested? I know that you've announced a partnership with a lot of large local retailers to get their employees wearing masks. How have you tried to reach out to businesses as you're reopening?
Yes, well, we have an emergency policy group here that basically in the county that makes the decisions. And I tried to get a face covering order passed, which didn't occur. And so what we did here in the city is to reach out to our partners, to organizations, corporations, and have them voluntarily require their team members to wear facial coverings and to encourage their customers to do so. And we had a very, very positive response from that. And since then, we've had a number of organizations call and want to be added to that list. And I think that the facial coverings, that's going to be a new normal for our community. And since this pandemic has begun, I've been in very close contact with all of our service providers, from restaurants to small businesses to everybody, to get their input on how we will be able to again thoughtfully reopen so that we don't have a resurgence of these cases and find ourselves behind the starting point with this virus.
You know, the Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has actually had praise for your city and your county, Hillsborough County, because of keeping the COVID rates of increase down. How have you really been successful during this COVID situation? What is it that you feel that the community has done as a whole in Hillsborough County that's really made a difference?
Well, our citizens have realized their level of personal responsibility and have acted accordingly. We have had overwhelmingly positive response to our Safer at Home order. And I also think that it's the two-way communication, that the community is very comfortable talking to government officials and keeping us apprised of their needs and their wants and desires. And then the same thing with our ability to provide the services that they need, the testing that they need. We just got to the point where we have relaxed all restrictions on testing. So anybody that wants a test can come out and receive that. And that data will be very informing as to the level of this virus in our community. We just got to the point where we've tested a little over 1% of our population. It's hard to make decisions based on that small of a scope of data.
It certainly is. We keep hearing that over and over again from folks, various levels of the state and throughout the country, really. Yesterday at the briefing, Governor DeSantis took a little heat for saying Florida was God's waiting room, referring to the state's number of nursing homes. He's faced, a great deal of criticism for that comment. Do you believe that ultimately he was right, that Florida has better outperformed than most people expected?
Well, I don't think that they've outperformed my expectations, that's for sure, especially here in our county. I knew that our citizens would respond appropriately. And I'm not sure about the God's waiting room, that there's no one size fits all in our state, but here in our city, our average age is under 40. So it certainly isn't the case here in the city of Tampa. We are a young, vibrant city that is on the rise.
It certainly is. And I have to say I'm a little biased because I grew up in Tampa and this is my hometown. So my heart swells with pride for this city. But I have to ask you, I'm also so many people looking forward to the Super Bowl at the end of February, which Tampa is expected to host. Mayor, I'm wondering if there isn't a vaccine in 10 months for the coronavirus, are you comfortable with people flying in from all across the country and the world really to your city? And do you believe the Super Bowl will take place in February in Tampa?
Yes, I am very, very optimistic about that because we are going to be making advances very quickly in the detection of the antibodies, the development of a vaccine. And I truly do believe that we will be prepared for the Super Bowl. And also, we will be the first city to have our hometown team win the Super Bowl. So I'm very excited about hosting the Super Bowl and winning it as well.
From your lips to God's ears, I know I'm supposed to be non-biased, but this is one topic, Tampa, the Buccaneers, that I cannot be unbiased on. I have my loyalties. I got to ask you, though, Mayor, before you go on the subject of football, you recently sent a letter to new Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, about how Brady was caught exercising in a closed park. And you wrote, given my law enforcement background, I couldn't help but have someone investigate the sighting of a goat running wild in our beautiful city parks. What have Tampa's new football stars brought to the city, Mayor?
Yes, yes. Well, he's brought such excitement, both Tom Brady and Gronk. We have an incredible fan base here in Tampa for all of our teams, rabid hockey fans, baseball and football. So we're very excited to have them here in Tampa, and they will be able to bring home that Lombardi trophy. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Looking forward to that. I think so many people, despite who you're rooting for, are looking forward to the Super Bowl in Tampa. Thank you so much, Mayor, for joining us.
We can't wait to host you here as well for Super Bowl.
Thank you, Mayor.